We get the first look at Loki Season 2 in a brand new trailer. Disney, unfortunately, has another theme park ride that has failed at the box office. And we've got some really unfortunate news that might happen to the director of the Secret Invasion Marvel's TV show. Before we get into all that, you guys know what comes up next.
Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lights, Camera, Rant. For anyone new, welcome. For anyone who's coming back, you know exactly where to sit. So we are currently live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook all the same time, as well as I have to do a massive shout out. This past week, we had the guys over at the Couch Cowards podcast. They're another Aussie podcast. They come on for an episode, a special episode where it went really well. And it was fantastic chatting with them. Some crazy stories, and a great contest of killer or cosplayer. Now, that was a complete surprise to me. And it was a competition, and I need you to go check it out and see who actually won. Spoiler alert, unfortunately, might have not been me. But as you guys know, we get into the pop culture news first, and then we get into reviews, which for this week, we are looking at Twisted Metal and the other half of Barbie Heimer, which is the Barbie movie, which wow, is the best way I can put that for that particular movie. But look, guys, we should need to get into this Because as I said, Couch Cowards podcast, go check them out. They are another Aussie podcast. Great bunch of guys, and the sky is the limit for them. So definitely go check them out. Links will be in the show notes. So what a wild week we've had in the what a wild week we've had. Honestly, just after filming the last episode, we got the brand new trailer poster for Loki season 2. So it's interesting knowing the fact that I don't recall in a very recent time or since Disney Plus, came about with all of Marvel TV shows of when a show ended to when the marketing material for the next show started coming right up. I think the most that we got was a poster, and that was about it. But this was almost like 24 hours after Secret Invasion ended that we got the brand new poster for Loki and the brand new trailer. Now, of course, the trailer has gone nuts. Everybody has loved it. I loved it. There's references to across the Spider-Verse in there. We get to see the new villain, and it looks to be just as wild as the first season. And I honestly can't wait when this drops. And it's going to be a wild time because when this drops, we're going to Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka leads straight into Loki. So for a good 6 or 7 weeks, we're going to be doing Ahsoka, Loki. That is how we're going to look. So definitely go check out our YouTube upcoming live schedule to see which episodes of when we'll line up being Ahsoka and Loki. Now, the big debate with Marvel at the moment was because they dropped the poster and the trailer so quickly, is there little faith, or is it a confirmation the fact that Marvel's Secret Invasion was a bomb? That's the biggest question, because we all know, especially from last week, that the final episode it didn't live up to expectations for a lot of people. I think it's bombed on Rotten Tomatoes, and not to mention the director, Ali, has come forward saying he's fully expecting to receive death threats over what he did. Spoiler alert on what happened with Rhodey and Endgame, Civil War, or where does he land? To me, he was a scroll after Endgame, because, as I said with the wonderful guys at Earth 894, was the fact that he was crawling in Endgame because he had a purpose for his legs. So I'm pretty sure it's after Endgame. But the utter massive excitement for Loki, it just shows you how good Tom Hiddleston is, how good the first season was, and how we're all ready to see this character return. Now, obviously, the big tricky thing is whether or not, I highly doubt there will be a season 3, but where is this going to lead for Loki in future? Where is this going to lead in the whole spectrum that is the Marvel Universe at the moment? Which, again, people are saying, which I partially agree, it does feel incoherent, a little bit jagged of where everything's sitting. However, I still have a lot of faith in Kevin Feige moving forward, even though some people may not have a lot of faith at the moment, which I fully understand. But stay with me and stay with Marvel, because Loki, it just looks really good, because you remember he's currently now in another universe. It's a different Morbius that knows Loki, and with Sylvia, we get to see good flashbacks that we saw in season 1 with them going to different timelines. But I am so pumped for this, and just to dive back into this world. And I know, again, no doubt this will be an absolute banger of a season, because if you go and look online and look at top Disney Plus TV shows and top rankings, top rated, top favorites, all of them, Loki is 1 or 2. It is right up there. And the other one being WandaVision. And then you get into every other show. But that Loki first season, which I can't believe it's been 2 years since it came out. because I remember how excited. I remember when it ended, I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" Like, holy shit, what Kang? We weren't going to see Kang for so long, which potentially we will probably not see Kang for very long again. Which I do have some news on that as well. But tell me what you guys think. Are you excited for Loki season 2? What did you think of the trailer? And what is something that you really want to see? And, well, I think one thing we all don't want to see is anything to end up like Secret Invasion, for the love of God. Now, this is one thing I do want to get off my chest, is I do want to say RIP, deepest condolences for Paul Rubin, who played Pee Wee Herman. Unfortunately, this past week he did pass away with his long battle against cancer. You will know him from Pee Wee Herman, and you will also know him for any comic book fans as the Penguin and Batman Returns, and also he did come back in the Gotham TV show. It's very sad. My deepest condolences to his family and his pets. R.I.P. Mr. Pee Wee. Now, this is what I was saying. So obviously Disney remake or reboot button, gonna press it every single time. They made an upcoming Haunted Mansion movie. Now it's got a stellar cast in the entire thing. Now it's really sorry, excuse me. Now it's really interesting because this movie, I feel, with everything going on, the marketing material for this wasn't really hyped. I don't know if that was like just my perception, but I don't remember seeing it everywhere. Nobody was talking about it. No one, like even people who were just casual moviegoers, my friends, weren't like, "Oh, are you gonna go review Haunted Mansion? Are you gonna go see Haunted Mansion?" It's almost feeling like Disney would just try to sweep this under the rug, like just like, no, we don't need it. I'm not too sure. So because the reason I'm saying this is the box office has shown results. It's only made $25 million at the box office with its release, and it is the lowest performing movie based on a Disney ride. That's how bad it is. And look, I've seen some of the reviews. They're a little bit mixed about the whole thing. However, I think this is one movie that you can miss from the plethora of movies that's coming out right now. Between Oppenheimer, Barbie, Meg, and we're about to get the Gran Turismo movie. This is something that you probably can give a miss because it is not looking good. And again, is it again people don't want to see reboots, or is that or remakes, or is the fact that this was just dead on arrival and Disney's like, no one's gonna watch this. Let's just get rid of this. Let's just fold it away. But it's sad because there's a lot of good actors in that movie. Now this was a little bit surprising. So right now, with the massive juggle that is the DC universe and the utter mess it is, Gal Gadot has come forward in an interview and said the fact that she is currently working on Wonder Woman 3 with Peter Safran and James Gunn. Now, look, it's a twisted thing because there's a part of me that's like, I want Gal Gadot to have another crack at Wonder Woman, and not just another bloody cameo, but to have another crack. And after the dismal display of Wonder Woman 2, after Wonder Woman 1 was just fantastic. However, if you make Wonder Woman 3, are you confusing the audiences of the casual viewer again with what's happening with currently DC? Like, are you still just going down that road and just confusing everybody on this is your Wonder Woman, this is not connected, this is not connected, the Batman's not connected, the Joker's not connected, but this is. But don't worry, Blue Beetle is connected and moving forward. Aquaman 2 isn't. The Flash was meant to reset everything. Like, are you just piling on more shit moving forward? Like, again, it's that argument of just maybe, which I thought was going to happen, is that James Gunn just needs to hit that full clean slate reboot button. Like, don't get me wrong, like the Joker 2, okay, that's fine. Batman 2 is fine. But, Wonder Woman 3 might be pushing it a little bit, because I know there was also conversations whether or not Jason Momoa might be staying on as Aquaman. Like, where does that line of, like, you're taking too much of the old, bring it to new, and make it more confusing? Like, again, as I said, I have complete and utter faith in James Gunn. In James Gunn we trust. But is this maybe pushing to do two part? And obviously, after Wonder Woman 2, no one's really pushing for Wonder Woman 3. No one's really going for it. Should we just, Gal Gadot did a fantastic job as a character, but we just clicked, do we just recast? New set, and do a Wonder Woman, new Wonder Woman outfit from like Wonder Woman 52 or something like that, change her outfit, which is, she's got plenty to choose from, but do you just moving forward on that? That's the problem. Also, for Guardians of the Galaxy fans, if you do not know already, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is now streaming on Disney Plus. I can't wait to go watch this. Again, like as I've said in previous episodes, every Disney movie that has come out, every Marvel movie that has come on Disney Plus, except for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I haven't gone back and watched, because I've seen the movie, I know it back to front, but I haven't got to watch it. This is the first one where I'm like, I'm going to go back and watch this, especially for all the extra bits that's going to be on all the extra bits behind the scenes. There's going to be so much on it, and I can't wait to watch this. It's a great ending. It's sad. It's everything in between. And I guess for those people that, just hate on Marvel, yes, it's Marvel of the old. It's only good because old Marvel, not new. Shut up. It's still part of Marvel, and it's just as good as the rest of Marvel. Doctor Strange, well, it's better than Doctor Strange, but you know what I mean. But yes, all streaming right now. Now this one's interesting. Now Emily Blunt in a recent interview, she said that she is ready for Edge of Tomorrow 2. Apparently, the director has shown her a script for Edge of Tomorrow. Now this is a movie with Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. It's a futuristic one, like Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day when Groundhog Day when the world gets invaded, essentially. Now, it's funny because right now, Tom Cruise is very busy with Mission Impossible. So I don't think he'll be stopping anytime soon to do that. So it's going to be interesting whether or not we'll actually get to see an Edge of Tomorrow. Do you want to see an Edge of Tomorrow too? I watched it and I was like, okay, cool action movie, Groundhog Day space, cool. Can't say I had a big inkling to go, I need to see a sequel to this. I need to see a number 2 desperately. Yeah, it's interesting when some people go like, oh no, I want to make them a 2 of this. I'm like, who's asking for a number 2? Honestly, like, who's asking for this? But I think, Emily, you're going to be waiting a little bit longer. Now, this is interesting. Now, because the director of The Incredible Hulk said the fact that he, in the the cancelled Incredible Hulk 2, where he was going to include Grey Hulks, Red Hulks, all Hulks of all kind into it. Now, a big thing of this is with The Incredible Hulk, obviously there was issues, Edward Norton, and Incredible Hulk never got off. Incredible Hulk 2 never got off the ground. Whether I don't know how much plans there actually were to create another Incredible Hulk. Now, only now, pretty much now, in Captain America: Brave New World, are we actually seeing the characters from this movie in more light. So yes, we got Ross. However, well, actually, we're getting Ross in that. We're getting Ross. We're getting Betty, and we're getting the leader in the upcoming movie. But it's hard to say. I could be wrong, but I don't know how much there actually were plans to actually make another Incredible Hulk 2. I don't even know where you would have put it. Because everything being shifted and pushed back, I don't know where you would have put Incredible Hulk 2 and where it would fit. I still like how much Hulk we did get in phase 1, 2, and 3. And I did, yes, before you attack me, I did like She-Hulk 70% of the time. But Mark Ruffalo did a fantastic job. I do kind of wish Mark Ruffalo was there from the start. Things would have been very different, I do believe. And as said, poor Ali, the director of Secret Invasion, he's kind of very aware that he might be death threats for Secret Invasion, which is uncalled for. People don't do that to him. He just directed it. He signed for it, and yeah. Probably one thing is terrible is I feel like the ramifications of Secret Invasion is going to last for a while. This will be hot debated for a very long time. But let's everyone just focus on Loki. Secret Invasion is done until Marvels comes out, and then we go down this road going, oh, this is what was meant to happen. Well, Marvels is coming out at the end of the year, so it's going to be very interesting to see how much of Secret Invasion will bleed into that and bleed into other things. Well, actually, Secret Invasion will bleed into Armor Wars, but that's what we got. So that is the biggest hot topic that's happened in the past week. With all the news that's happened, there's going to be so much that's going to come out more, but we're going to get on to our 2 reviews, where we're going to be looking at Twisted Metal. So it was so funny when this dropped, because I was like, oh, cool, I'll flick it on and I'll watch one episode. And I think I had the 10 weeks planned out. I was like, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of Twisted Metal, Barbie. Sorry, Twisted Metal and Ahsoka and Loki coming up forward. And I thought, wow, that's going to be a lot to review. So I put the first episode on. So for Australia, for Peacock, we don't have Peacock. We're on Stan. So that's different. So turn it on, played the first episode. And I went to the second episode as well. I was like, okay, they did a double feature. And then the third episode played. I was like, oh, that's right. It's on Stan, not Disney, which means we get the entire season at launch. Thank God. Oh, so I binged the entire thing. It was just one of those things like, oh, that's right. This is normal. This isn't different. Because so far this year, obviously, The Last of Us was weekly, and then all the Disney Plus shows have been weekly. So it was really nice to finally get a TV show, the bulk of it, so you could actually do a binge. Actually, no. So it was Wednesday. Last time I could actually do a binge watch was with Wednesday. It's Cal on YouTube. It is fantastic. I was so surprised about this. So the show, this is the thing, is that I still went into this watching it still having that video game curse in my head of how's this going to turn out? How are they going to translate it? Is it going to be a hot mess? Is this the one that's going to not be, is this the one that's going to, no pun intended, crash and fail? Because, we've got The Last of Us, which was nearly a picture perfect from video game to movie. You saw the frames. It was fantastic. So that was really positive. Now, as we get into this, Twisted Metal's just dropped. Gran Turismo is coming out next weekend. So is it going to live up to the hype? Now, when this was first announced, I was like, okay, interesting that they picked Twisted Metal. And I thought, okay, out of all TV shows, how's this going to work? And obviously Anthony Mackie and Samoa Joe as Sweet Tooth with Will Arnett playing as a titular character. Voicing the character. I was like, okay, let's get into this. And honestly, straight off the bat, do not miss this show. So we're introduced into Anthony Mackie's character John Doe, who can't remember a certain amount of his past. As he can't remember his past, but however, that's true. No such thing. Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider 1, 2, remake, Rampage, Mario movie. That's right. That's the thing. Those Mario broke the curse, Sonic broke the curse. Terminator 1 and 2. I think 1 was better than 2 if I remember it, and Mortal Kombat. So I do apologize. Yes, so the curse has been broken plenty of time, but I still have that going in mind. Is like, will they going to ruin this? But so far, the curse has been beaten every single time moving into the moving forward. So Twisted Metal does not suffer that. So when going into this, Anthony Mackie's character is a milkman. He's a delivery man. Goes to state to state to do. Well, doesn't go too far, but as just delivering. We get a big picture of this entire world. And we do see how post-apocalyptic it is. Very big Last of Us vibes. Very much, except no disease, just no internet. The world just imploded basically, as you wouldn't think the world wouldn't do. And we do just see that he is he is striving to have a normal life. He wants to just live. So major cities, they've all been fenced off with a giant wall, and they live normal. They live fine, and he wants that life after being a milkman for so many years. I think being a milkman for generally his age, you'd probably be at least. At least 20 years or more, he's been a milkman. And they all know him. And then as the first episode progresses, we also get introduced to Stephanie Barrett's character, which her name is Quiet, because she doesn't talk at the very start. And spoiler it, we don't actually find out her name at all the entire first season. And we also get actually Sweet Tooth very early on as well in the second episode, which they have nailed the character of Sweet Tooth. He is just absurd, just as messed up, just as creepy through the entire season. So it's 10 episodes. They go for roughly about an hour each, but Sweet Tooth, just as creepy. This show is a mix up of like Deadpool, Zombieland, and Death Race. Partially. I'll get into that later on. So it comes into the fact that he goes to San Francisco. He has this very special delivery he has to make. If he can do this delivery to this other state and come back, then he's offered a normal life. And then that's what he wants. And he's taken the deal, and he'll never have to be a milkman ever again. So, as you would know, in any Journey movie, there is a lot of blood. There's a lot of action. There's more characters that pop up. Like I'm trying to remember his name. Agent Stone, played by Thomas Church. Which it was funny. The last thing I saw Thomas Church in was Spider-Man: No Way Home, and he was obviously just Sand. But he plays a great villain. We also get a couple sidekicks called Stu, who's just, trying to make his way, but he gets caught into this whole mess with all the cops, Agent Stone's crew that try and be the new law and order into the world of this post-apocalyptic world that's effed up. And it's just every episode, I didn't feel like there was a lull at all. I didn't feel like there was a low of and it just the fact that okay, that was a bit of a side episode, or that was a bit of a side episode. Which you do feel in some Disney Plus TV shows, Marvel shows. I will admit, like, okay, this is just a filler episode. But for this episode for me goes for beat for beat for beat, and the comedy is so funny, so dark. As the story progresses, it's just you feel sorry for these characters. There's one episode that's really messed up, and you realize how people try to cope in all this madness. We got Mr. Mark My Words on YouTube. Thanks, man, for coming past. It is one episode where you find out that a whole town of people, to cope and everything, made servants out of everybody, and if they did anything wrong, would chop off their fingers or their ears and wear it like a necklace. That's kind of how weird things get in this. Feel sorry for the what? It's really weird, and it's just dark and twisted. So if you have that sense of humor, you're going to love this. And all the performances are fantastic all the way through. And there is a lot of gaming references. Like the first episode, you do see actually an old cover of Twisted Metal and of the original game. So Twisted Metal has been around since 1995. So the game is, for anyone who doesn't know, is that you get into a car and you have machine guns, missiles, weapons to try and destroy each other. And it will be you go on different maps. And it was on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and we're dying from it came onto PlayStation 5. But what made this series so remember so fantastic was A, the action in the cars, and B, the story. So the story would be Twisted Metal was a contest. Whoever won was champion, but each character was messed up. It was either an ex-murderer or a serial killer, or something as simple as John Doe just trying to make his way through it, or there was a family of something's gone wrong, and the stories were just dark, and it was fantastic. And it kept that all the way through all the games on which ending you picked. So the Twisted Metal is the demand is there, the hype is there, and I hope they make a season 2 of this, because the way it ended, we got a whole bunch of new characters that were from the video game, and even even had the Calypso is holding a tournament, and I was like, yes, is going straight into the video game. But another video game reference was Anthony Mackie's character was trying to get his car started, so he pressed all these buttons, and he even said like R2, R1, X, left, right, like as you would know when you play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and have all those codes in your head. And you just see that, and obviously right at the end, there's more game references when they do this giant battle, which feels taken straight from the video game into it. There are so many different players in it. It's just an utter war zone. But I highly recommend you watching this. I was just for a Disney Plus show, for a Peacock original, based on a video game that it has a particular audience, the cast of characters, the story. Now, obviously, this isn't fully. I will let you know this story isn't on the video game straight away. This is basically a 10-episode prologue to the actual tournament of Twisted Metal. That's how much it's going to. So the season 1 ends with basically a Twisted Metal about to happen the very next day, which Anthony Mackie's character, because he's now stuck in playing this game, and where there's a scene where Calypso is putting up all the different drivers, and every single driver is from the video game, and it's going to look so good. And sad thing is that as much as I really want, it's like, oh yay! Oh, I think we'll make a season 2. I'm like, let me do the math. All right, season 1, 2, we're in 2023. Like we're about 2025, like to get season 2. But there has been no word of season 2 right now. But as I said, if you're a Deadpool fan, Zombieland fan, Twisted Metal fan, obviously, you will love the show. And all the feedback I've been seeing is everyone's been so surprised about it. But I can honestly, every character you do meet, you want them to almost be on screen for more because they're funny and they're different. There's also one guy that has an absolute massive dong that crushes a watermelon. So hopefully that tells you exactly what that kind of show is going to be. So Twisted Metal has my full approval onto it, and you need to go check it out now. Especially the fact you can actually binge the entire thing and not have to wait week after week after week after week after week after week after week every week. So let's get into Barbie, the other half of Barbieheimer. All right. So Barbie, when I saw this, I looked at it and went, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go see this. Now, that was before Barbieheimer actually kicked up right into gear. And then when that kicked up the gear, the first trailer, the first reviews for it were all really positive. So Barbie had a budget of $140 million. Currently, right now, in the box office, it has made $872 million worldwide. It is on the verge to go to $1 billion at the box office, if it hasn't already, as I'm recording this. If it hasn't already crossed that bar, is outperformed the Batman of Rob Harrison. It is just skyrocketed. With all this happening, I was like, okay, with my friends, I was like, all right, let's go watch it. Let's go watch this. Let's see what's all the hype is. Obviously Margot Robbie is a fantastic choice. So when you go watch this, now for all those people that did the back-to-back Oppenheimer and Barbie, anyone who's still on the fence about that, go see Oppenheimer first, then go see Barbie, because you'll be a lot happier when you watch Barbie. So basically when this movie starts is spoilers. When this movie starts, we are introduced to the world of Barbie Land, which every single Barbie is all very different, and as you would know from the toys, and also has their own, not agendas, but their own name. So, for example, President Barbie, Weird Barbie, Night Out Barbie, Teacher Barbie, Professor Barbie. They all have their particular roles, and the world is vibrant. It's obviously pink, very pink, and as we get to see it a normal day, and just how floating on air, if you will, with Margot Robbie, how we do see how it does, and all this entire town, how things are a little bit weird because it's obviously it's Toyland, how like the beach is fake, the water is fake, and they don't drink or eat properly. Obviously, it keeps on the toys, keeps the back and forth between like how the toys work to how they work very well. So when they obviously pick up a mug, they go drink, no water comes out, but they're fine. They're all fine. And obviously, you can see when Margot Robbie gets out of her heels, her feet still are upright. And then as the first day, we get to see this entire land. We get to meet all the Kens, all the different Kens with Ryan Gosling, and with a narration from Helen. I forgot her name. Helen. Helen Mirren. That's it. Helen Mirren. She narrates. I don't know why I was like Megan or something. Helen Mirren. She narrates it, and we get introduced into this entire world. But as this first day goes about, right at the end, Margot Robbie's character is like, do you ever think about death? And like, because they're at a giant party. And they're like, what? And she's like, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. And you can see that she's having second thoughts. She's having second thoughts, and she seems to be a bit, thinking too much. So after that first day, the second day, her feet no longer stay on that perfect heel form. So things start going wrong around her house, and she's telling her friends about it, and it's all, we get to see all the other Barbies worrying about her and tell her to go see Weird Barbie. Now, Weird Barbie is very kooky and crazy, but the best thing about Weird Barbie is the fact that she is the Barbie that's, which you get to see a montage of it. Her hair burned, her eyes colored with different colors, her dresses cut up and mashed together, doing the splits. Like, it just shows, her body's the character of what would actually happen with those type of Barbies, which would be so many out there. And what Weird Barbie says is the fact that which Weird Barbie, because of her, she's actually like castrated. She's actually not with the rest of the Barbies at all. She's far away from and lives far away. And she says, all right, this is happening to me. And what happens is Weird Barbie says, well, look, whoever is playing with you in the real world must be sad because this is happening to you because you're feeling sad and you're not doing everything right. So she's like, you have to go to the real world, which I do love. There is a lot of comedy in this. And I found myself very laughing. So did our entire theater. And she will go to the real world to find this girl. Now, she has like some memories or like pictures that she can find out the girl. So Ken goes with her, which Ken did set a night before. He's like, oh, can I stay over? And then Barbie's like, no, it's girls' night. And Ken's like, every night's girls' night. He's like, ah. It's actually quite funny at the time movie. It does actually explain, which they do question later. They're like, oh, where the Kens actually stay? Oh, I don't know. All the Kens, and then obviously the one character, which is Alan, played by Michael Cera, which Michael Cera embodies the character so much. I don't know, just because him. So majority of all the toys have their moment to shine in this movie. And then what happens is when Barbie goes to the real world, she does find Sasha, who she believes is playing with her, which kind of turns into a bit of a brutal scene where she's like, Margot Robbie's like, Barbie, I'm here to talk to you, going through. And then Sasha like rips into her on like how much Barbie's set back feminism and how she's useless and what she's done, expectations, everything. It was just kind of brutal. And then Barbie walks away crying, which she does meet this little old lady on a bench. And when she turns around and goes, you're beautiful. And to her, it was a very special little moment. But then Ken came with her, surprised her, and he goes off because he realizes he's being respected by women, and he goes to look like men and history in the real world, and realizes men have controlled not men have controlled the world, but what everything's men done, like Mount Rushmore, horses, and all like this. And he starts getting obsessed. He's like, oh my god, I have to go back and tell the other Kens, because he's like, oh my god, you respected me. A woman asked me for my time. So Ryan Gosling embodied this character, and you can tell how much he embodied. You can tell how fun he had doing this, and Margot Robbie nailed Barbie. So after that happens with the school, we get just to Will Ferrell, who is the CEO of Mattel, obviously, who own Barbie, because it's funny the fact that Barbie has left the real world, has left Barbie Land, so they're aware of Barbie Land and the fact that Margot Robbie's Barbie, who is stereotypical Barbie, has left. Apparently, it has happened before. They can leave anytime. Not to mention, anyone from the real world can also go back into that as well, which is really interesting and really weird. But they can do that. And what happens is when they go, obviously Will Ferrell and the team go get Barbie. Barbie bumps into Gloria, who's actually the woman who's been playing with her Barbie, and she's been drawing Barbie to have a little bit more emotion and not be as perfect because Gloria is struggling with her daughter Sasha. Beautiful story. Couldn't believe the fact that was Ugly Betty. After the movie, I was like, oh my god, do you remember that? Do you remember Ugly Betty TV show? I remember the promotion for that was just everywhere. I just everywhere. I couldn't believe that. But as they also help together, they go back to Barbie Land and they find that Ken is taken over in the Ken Dojo dungeon. Dojo. It's so funny. He's fully embodied as toxic masculinity or masculinity, if you will, and all the Barbies have fallen for it. And they've all changed. The whole world's changed, and Ken's about to change it so the fact it's permanent at court. And it gets to do a wild ride about the whole thing. And we also get to see at one point Barbie meeting Ruth, who was the creator of Barbie. Get to meet her. For some reason, she is in a room in Mattel, locked door by herself. Don't know why. Doesn't really explain why, but yes, she is. And it leads into a massive fight between the Kens, and we get a wonderful singing rendition of Ryan Gosling playing, singing I'm Ken, which is now in the hottest Billboard 100 top songs. So great, congratulations, Ryan Gosling. And as it all folds, we're going to see this in great jumper of a clothing line called I'm Ken Enough, which sold out dramatically, apparently, after this movie, which of course it did. But as this movie progresses, the comedy is fantastic. The acting is great. The pacing is great. And yes, does this lead on to feminism and masculinity and how some people like it's anti-men. It's not really anti-men. Like I understand, it's a Barbie movie, so it's going to be a little bit like that. But for ages 10 and up to go see this movie, this is more like a teen adult movie. I would say this is very much like go take your 5-year-olds to this movie. It's not really like that. But this movie, how the director has put this all together with all of the characters is fantastic. This movie is your must watch. You're going to have to go watch this. It is. So I was just so surprised on how good it was. When I first heard about it, as I said, I was like, yeah, Barbie movie. How's that really going to come out? Holy shit. They knew the mission. They knew what to do, and they bloody nailed it. Even in the credits, it doesn't actually say President Barbie or President Barbie or this Barbie. They all just say Barbies and Kens. The only characters that have a bit of a difference is obviously stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie, Ken, and Weird Barbie, because they had more of a prominent roles. But that's about it for those, and it all goes down like that. This is an absolute win for Warner Brothers, and I don't need to see a sequel. I don't think you can do a sequel. It doesn't need a sequel, but this is definitely something you don't want to miss. If you can go to the movies, go see it. Take your family. It's a good time, especially the fact that Barbie goes and stays in the real world, and her big appointment is to go see her gynecologist. Yes, I am correctly with that. And there's one moment in the movie which I do love where Margot Robbie's like, oh, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not beautiful enough. And Helen Mirren's like, no two directors. Margot Robbie is probably not the right person to say this to, which is, of course, completely understandable. But Barbie is a win. Go see it. Go wear pink, and you're going to love it. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments, and definitely come back to me. I would love to know what you all think. And it's weird to know that Barbie was almost going to be played by Anne Hathaway, or Amy Schwimmer when this movie rights were actually at Universal, which Universal lost the rights and went to Warner Brothers. I honestly, I don't know if it's because of the material, I don't know because we always see the movie and everything, but I can't imagine anyone else playing this movie, Barbie, then besides Margot Robbie, really. Same with Harley Quinn. It's funny how you look at Harley Quinn and she's also playing Barbie. I did see a meme that was like, your first day at work until your last day at work. And like, that's very right. But Barbie's killing at the box office. It is making bank. And I have no doubt there is sequel talks, which I hope do not happen because it is not needed at all. Is it needed at all? Please, we don't need a sequel. But look, guys, thank you very much for coming for this episode. As always, please let me know what you think about Loki. Let me know what you think about Edge of Tomorrow. Would you want to see Incredible Hulk 2? Where do you think it would have fit? Have you gone and see Twisted Metal? Have you gone and see Barbie? Let me know. And until next time, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.